and legendary sports figures were each honored with a Thurman Munson Award last week. Former Yankees first baseman Tino Martinez, former Mets third baseman Howard Johnson, and New York City Basketball Hall of Famer Ann Gregory O'Connell, who played at Fordham University. Tina Cervasio, the main sports anchor at Fox 5, was there to host the event, and she joins us now to talk all about it. Tina, thanks for coming on, and this sounded like you really had an awesome day.
Oh, Mike, thank you so much for having me on. And yes, the Thurman Munson Awards is definitely a special night.
Well, we're so happy to have you on. And before we get into the event itself, can you talk about your sports background and how you ultimately landed at Fox 5?
Sure. Well, I've been at Fox 5 New York now for 7 years as the full-time lead sports anchor, but I've been freelancing here since about 2010 when I was working at MSG Network doing both the Knicks and New York Red Bulls broadcasts. But in between, I just love sports, love television, found ways to fill in when they needed me here. So it also kept me on my toes anchoring during that time as well. But ever since I was a little girl, I just had a passion for sports. My parents, cousins there, I had aunts and uncles. It seemed like everyone was a coach, mostly at the high school and like Division III college level. So we spent a lot of our days and night or weekends and nights in northern New Jersey going to, Uncle Carl's softball game, Uncle Jimmy's basketball game, cousin Carl's women's basketball game, Uncle John's high school football game on Friday nights, Uncle Joe's wrestling matches. So my life was filled with sports. I tried as many as I could, not so good when there was a ball at my feet or trying to hit the ball or shoot the ball, but I was great in the individual sports. Gymnastics and track and field was the way to go for Tina, and really enjoyed those in high school and continued running through my adult life, and just loved journalism and pursued it at the University of Maryland at the College of Journalism. And I focused on broadcast, and I focused on sports and sports writing and sports broadcasting. And a long, slow road led me back to New York, where, as I mentioned, was born and raised in northern New Jersey, still live there now. But a couple detours, spent some time a little bit in Maryland working, spent some time working in Boston, covering all the rivals. And nothing was better than coming back to New York City and to cover the teams that I watched and grew up watching and cheering for as a little girl. And now I get to tell their stories of the current athletes. And, in instances like this, also still the athletes and the icons and the legends of their past.
That's fantastic. And how did you get selected to be the MC of this event?
I have been doing a little bit of work. I think I just attended the Thurman Munson Awards years ago when I was working at MSG Network covering the Knicks, because several Knicks players would receive the award a couple of years. Amari Stoudemire, I believe, one year, Chris Duhon another year. And I attended as a Knicks broadcaster, got to know a lot of the coordinators and the people running the event, and also the people from AHRC, which is what this gala benefits. And this was a foundation and an organization that was near and dear to Thurman Munson's heart. And he would go and work with these children and meet these young adults that are, they're the neurodiverse and they're struggling with various mental challenges. And he would spend his time with them quietly, secretly. He wouldn't make a big deal about it. But eventually it got out because they just had so much gratitude for the Yankees captain coming in and bringing light and just bringing awareness at times, but just more helping those people that were going through this and going to different camps and different events that they would have in the summertime and programs for these children and young adults. So I started going to the event, loved attending it. Every so often, they change the format. One year I presented an award, simply handing the lovely trophy, the lovely item. And then one year did an announcement. One year was part of the Ask with Tony Richardson. The next year was Chris Canty. And then tag teamed with Michael Kay last year. And even during the pandemic, what they did was they still had the event virtually. And we all did different segments, some of the hosts, broadcasters. And it was so neat. My segment was to interview Harry Carson. And I got to interview him both about his career, what he still does in the New York, New Jersey area, just the legend that he is as one of the great linebackers ever in the NFL. And we get to call him one of our own as one of the member of the New York Football Giants. And I got to interview Harry, but also it's all about giving back. And it's all about leaving your legacy off the field of play. And that's what this is all about. That's what Thurman Munson represented. He was also just the greatest teammate. You hear his former teammates talk about him. You hear the stories that his widow Diana tells about what his former teammates still say about him. And he just really left an indelible mark on New York sports in a life, taken obviously so quickly. So yeah, that's just how I sort of got involved year after year.
It's a great cause. And in addition to the three sports figures who were honored, there were a lot of other sports figures in attendance. Were there any particular people that you were excited to see or meet?
Like I said, Harry Carson, he is there every year. He continues to show his support. It's like seeing royalty. It's New York sports royalty, Mr. Carson. And don't call me Mr. Carson, call me Harry. So it's so great to see him. I love Nelson Figueroa. I get so still early for me. Nelson Figueroa, former Mets pitcher.
Met, yep.
Yes, grew up in New York. Went to Abraham Lincoln High School. You gotta love it when the hometown kid comes and plays professionally for one of the local teams, and then stays in towns. Knows what it's like to be the youth of New York City. So he was there as well. He came up on the podium with me. We did a little thing with the fundraising. It was so great to see McCall Zerboni. She is one of the standout midfielders on New Jersey, New York, Gotham FC, a reigning NWSL champion. Gotham FC won the championship last year. So you had all these World Series champions and Super Bowl champions, but it was so neat to see someone kind of like still in their reign, just coming off a championship. So it was great to see her. She has incredible energy, and it was her first experience of being around something like this as well. Gosh, John Tonelli. Oh my gosh, 4 Stanley Cups with the Islanders. Again, it's just a lot of royalty, so many championships in the house, and you really appreciate those people and the teams that they played for and what they did, because it's been a rough go in New York the last couple of years. So like I said, we've had the championship, obviously, with Gotham FC. In 2021, NYCFC won MLS Cup. That was during the pandemic. They had like sword, and it wasn't really a parade, really a celebration. Gotham FC, that is a rising league. It is growing in leaps and bounds. Television deals. They had a great turnout, over 15. They might have had 19. They had 19,000 at their opening game the other night in a stadium that seats just over 20,000 at Red Bull Arena. So, but our NFL teams and our baseball teams and hockey, guys, what's going on? We need another championship. So it's just so great to see all of those champions gathered together in the same room. It's really powerful.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And Tina, I'm curious about this next answer. How special is it knowing that you made it as far as you have as a female sports journalist? And what is your message to other females who are looking to pursue a career in this same field?
I'll tell you, it's special because I never take a day for granted. And it's a funny industry when you're talking about just television in general. You never know when it's going to end. Tomorrow is not promised, even if you're in a contract. So I've learned that the hard way. But to grow up loving sports and to love the teams from this region, I am really lucky. And it was always like I always wanted to just work, living in New Jersey, but I could see the Empire State Building from my parents' bedroom window. We were 8 miles from the Lincoln Tunnel. So it was just, I always wanted to work in New York and just, going. I didn't go to a lot of pro games as a little kid. Once I went to a couple Giants games. Nets, we went to a lot of Nets games. They were right there at the good old Brendan Byrne Arena, Continental Airlines Arena. But a lot of times I would go there and, get a chance to see the Lakers play or see the New York Knicks play, and to be able to walk on these courts and walk on these fields and tell stories for these athletes, whether it's just the blood and sweat on the gridiron or their backstories, which is what really inspires me all the time. I love a good underdog. I love somebody that's overcome something. I love a good repair your reputation story too. I'm all about second chances. So I love to tell those stories when they're available. So I'm really grateful. And every day, whether I'm driving to work or on a field, whatever the case may be, or, miking up and sitting next to a great athlete. Last night, Clay Holmes, the Yankees closer, was on our show. It was taped from a couple weeks ago. But to sit down with the Yankees closer, it's just, it means a lot to me every day. So it's very special.
Fantastic. Tina Cervasio, main sports anchor at Fox 5. You do an awesome job, and thanks so much for taking the time this afternoon.
Oh, I appreciate your interest, Mike, and for having me on. Thank you so much.
Of course. Head over to ONNJ.com for the latest news and sports anytime.